Hi everybody, welcome back to the IEM Chicago 2018 qualifiers. I bet you're surprised to see us here because you've just been watching a whole game with no casters. But we're here. It's been a bit of an interesting night, hasn't it, Ian? Because we were waiting for that MVP game to get underway, but things are looking a little bit grim for MVP in the other match that they're playing right now. So that's gone to map 3. We've decided, you know what? We're just going to jump onto the Boot and Biff game and finish that one off. I think that's the best opportunity for everyone to enjoy a bit of Counter-Strike tonight, because otherwise we'd be hanging around for the next hour waiting for MVP to finish off their game.
I was going to say, it's been rather uneventful, really.
Yeah.
We've been sitting here not casting anything.
Yeah, well, we came to work a couple of hours ago. It's been pretty cruisy until now. But yeah, we're going to be looking at that second map between Boot and MiTH. Now, just to update everyone as to how things are as far as MVP is concerned, well, it's kind of looking like Flash might get an auto berth through that upper bracket into the grand final, because MVP essentially have until, what, 11 o'clock now, which is in about 8 minutes time to actually get into there to play the second map. They've already forfeited the first map against Flash Gaming, but if they're not into the server in 8 minutes, that means that they are not going to be able to play and they're going to lose 2-0.
Oh, they'll go to the loser bracket, right?
And they'll go down into the loser bracket. But judging by the fact that they still haven't started their third map on their other match that they started earlier, it's unlikely that MVP is going to be getting into the server in time. So, yeah, with all of our options weighed up, it's time for some Boot Dreamscape versus Made in Thailand.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw the last game while we were waiting, I guess, and it didn't look very close.
No, and that's probably what you would expect.
Bit of a concern for MiTH, really, going into this next one.
Look, I don't know what you could necessarily expect is if you're MiTH coming into that match. We've spoken extensively about Boot Dreamscape and where they lie in the Asian region, be it somewhere between...
Didn't expect them in the loser bracket this early.
No, exactly, and that's the real crux of it, and we did expect MiTH in the loser bracket, so that kind of shows you the discrepancy between the two teams.
Absolutely. But then you've also got SC Absolute afterwards, so that's who Boot will be going up against.
Yeah, and speaking of SC Absolute, they also got a forfeit win tonight because 5Power have also pulled out. So SC Absolute's on through, and we'll see them tomorrow, hopefully. And I suspect we'll probably see them be going up against Boot Dreamscape, which would be a rematch of the match that they played initially in the first round of this bracket. Which is cool.
Another best of 3, so you know it's a true test. It's not like they dropped into the lower bracket off a best of 1 or something.
No, but that best of 3 between Boot and SC Absolute was 16-13, 16-14, 16-14. The way of SC Absolute, inevitably. So very, very close series there. If we got to see that one tomorrow, I would be pretty keen to have a look at that one. And like I said, I do think that there's a very, very good chance that we will end up having a look at that one, because from this Boot versus MiTH matchup, obviously we watched Keish a little bit as we were waiting for this game to get underway. It didn't look like MiTH was necessarily in a position to particularly challenge.
They were copying the Boot. Yeah. So yeah, that was the full Boot plow, I guess you would say, which is what they do to all the lower tier teams in you know, the region. So we've seen them come up against those guys before, and they just deal with them very efficiently. None of this MVP sort of get it down to the last round, go to overtime, sort of muck around.
Go to overtime and then lose the overtime.
Get in, get it over and done with, and you know, just get to the tougher games at the later end of the bracket.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. I'm a fan of that kind of play style. But for Boot Dreamscape, then that's kind of where things do start to come a little bit unstuck. Sometimes we do see them struggle against the likes of Tyloo, Flash, and MVP.
I mean, look, if you struggle against those teams, which I mean, even the best teams in Australia do, it's definitely fair, warranted, fair enough. So.
Yeah, but obviously that means it's a little tough sometimes to get to some international competitions. Now, Boot Dreamscape, they did make it to IEM Sydney, which was fairly respectable for them.
Yeah, they've been to DreamHack Stockholm as well.
They qualified over Flash at that point, so there is, I suppose, precedence for Boot to potentially be able to beat.
I remember we were very surprised when they qualified over Flash. That was a big upset winner, I think, for them.
Well, the thing was, because we were looking at the ESL Pro League qualifiers at the exact same time as well for the Asia region.
Yeah,
and
the results in that were...
Yeah, it was kind of like some of the results for that was
very
one
skewed
way, and then they were completely the opposite for IEM Sydney quals, even though it was basically the exact same teams playing in both of the qualifiers.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, for me, it was just, you know, totally... that was when Boot arrived, I think. We all talked about it, and that's when Boot arrived, and since then, they've kept that level as well. They've only, I think, really only had 1 or 2 disappointing results since then. So for me, I think, Boot are definitely looking the goods now, and they are up there with that Flash Gaming. SC Absolute, maybe.
It's still not there, I don't think.
Still uncertainty for me because, you know, removing Palm, getting in their new player. I haven't really seen one of their matches yet, but the win over Boot surprises me. I'm not sure if it was the real Boot that lost that match.
Potentially not. I guess that's something to sort of talk about if we get to see that match
tomorrow.
SC Absolute is a bit of a conundrum for me because we have seen them around quite a lot, even if you throw your mind back to ROG Masters last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
In the Asia qualifier, or the Asia finals, I should say. They were definitely a contender there. Laz really putting his mark on those matches at that time.
Yep.
And we sort of stood up and sort of thought about, well, maybe SC Absolute's going to be the next thing in the Asia region, maybe potentially start to push their way in. But
I was never too sure about that.
It hasn't really eventuated at the very least.
No, but I mean, so far this qualifier, they've been doing a good job of proving themselves.
Well, they also made it to ESL Pro League ESL Pro League Asia qualifiers for the finals. And they didn't really impress there at all. I thought they were going to do a little better than they did, but we didn't even really get to see a whole lot from them. So that was disappointing, and that was kind of where I thought, okay, maybe this is where they're going to really
I've
start
always
to
looked
kick
at
it
them
into
like a
gear.
one-man show when it came to Laz, and I don't know. Some of the results surprised me a bit, but this one against Boot was probably one of their best results so far.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I mean, that's hopefully for SD Absolute, it's going to be something that they're going to be able to repeat.
Yeah.
But the history, you would have to say, is going to favour Boot Dreamscape as a general rule. Now, the interesting thing for me about this qualifier in particular is, like, obviously we were talking about IEM Sydney quals, we were talking about the Dallas quals as well. Well, there was 3 slots to come through to IEM Sydney, and there was also three slots for Asia to come to the Dallas qualifiers. This time there's only 1 qualifying slot to Chicago. So all those teams, you're talking about like Flash, you're talking about MVP, Boot, you think, great, 3 slots, they're all through. But now, 3 teams really, in my opinion, contesting off for the 1 spot, and it's kind of hard to say who's going to come away with the win there.
There's no clear favourite, really. I mean, you're right. When it comes to these guys now, they're all pretty equal pegging.
Yeah.
So there's no clear favourite we can go with. It's definitely this guy's spot. If Tyloo was in the tournament, you would say, yeah, sure, I feel like Tyloo most likely going to go through, unless someone upsets them because they are the #1 in the region.
Yeah.
And now that they're out, it's really anyone's game.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, as well? Because everyone's sort of playing second fiddle. We're not really sure necessarily who is in second place in the Asian region at the moment either. I feel it used to be MVP, but it's kind of hard to say where they sit now.
Well, look at how they're going against Cyberzen. I mean,
exactly. So anyway, let's enough talk. Let's get into the game.
Well,
Boot Dreamscape versus
people can't be sick of us yet. We didn't even do the first map.
No, but Benkai does have the P250 in his hands. Let's see if he can make any kind of an impact here for Boot Dreamscape. Filtering out onto the A bomb site, Splashkey and Bulbasaur will be able to open the account for the T side. And unfortunately for MiTH, things aren't looking like they're going to be changing here on Train from the results that we saw on Cage. Benkai has got absolutely no fear or respect by the looks of things as he charges up the ladder with the knife. But in the end, he's going to let that kill go the way of Bulbasaur. 1-0, Boot Dreamscape start off with a pistol.
Yeah, I mean, look, 1-0, it's a good way to start the match. T-side, pistol, you know, CT map, you would say, maybe. These days, it's really hard to find any sort of bias in the maps. They're all fairly even. Now, you've got the likes of Molotovs and the use of smoke grenades and the choke points all getting smoked off throughout the map. So for me, it's really hard to say where this sits, because if you let the Ts get all this control of SL, T-Con, Vines, or Ivy, and of course Brown Halls, they've really got free reign over the entire map. 5-second rotates here or there. The anti-eco, no matter what map it is, it's always pretty difficult. Hard to get by without any casualties.
That's a good shot from PTC.
PTC and the Scout, and I mean the Scout is obviously one of my favourite weapons in the eco process.
Yeah. Bit of information there for Cigarettes as well, as he does push his way up through the Brown Halls.
Some more MP5s as well, Jordan.
I like it. I like it. Boot did use them to great effect yesterday.
Boot was the only team we saw use them, but in the other stream, apparently everyone was using them.
Oh, well, there you go. Viper Demon, though, with the CZ. He's managed to find 2, and Bulbasaur's got 4 HP. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Boot Dreamscape. They had a player advantage.
Not easy.
They fall prey to the CZs once again. Been spotted as well, so life gets even more difficult here for Bulbasaur. Let's see if that 10.5, what was it? Sensitivity is the word I'm looking for.
I was going to back you up, but then I was like, sink or swim, my brother.
10.5 sensitivity. Let's see if that can play off here. You might actually get Viper Demon if you can get the timing, but...
It's called Mouse Excel, caster noob.
Yeah, sorry. Viper Demon has an AK. Cigarettes has got an MP5.
Just waiting for it in the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
All right, well, 1 apiece. That's a good way to start if you're MiTH. I mean, the underdogs here, really.
Yeah.
Last map, they got absolutely trashed on by a Boot. 16-5, I think it was.
Yeah, something to that effect.
And that's not good. I believe MiTH have not had much luck on Cash recently, but we'll see how they go this map. PTC
Oh,
will
dearie.
fall down quite easily to Benkai, but quickly traded out, which is good. But unfortunately, the full control of Ivy comes out for Boot.
Yeah. And now there is a FAMAS in the hands of Impression wrapping around into CT spawn. Cigarettes
Wow.
offers absolutely no resistance.
Wow.
And this is looking like we're going to be swinging back the other way as Boot Dreamscape might be able to pick themselves up a force buy. Restore equilibrium, perhaps, considering they were the ones that did win the pistol.
Yeah, get a little bit level-headed. But I don't see Conged really getting away with anything here. Maybe a kill or two, get some money, but really he should be trying to save his armor and utility for the next round.
Yeah, there are a lot of low HP players for Boot, so
Yes.
you might be tempted.
No defuse kit?
I think it's just exit frags at best now for Conged. Might get one or two. Or perhaps none, depending. Splashy can't quite land the headshot, but that does put Conged down very low. Tommy is waiting for him. So Boot Dreamscape, they're going to be very happy with that round, even if they were a little unhappy about the previous.
Well, they've reset MiTH's money now. It'll be interesting to see if MiTH fall in the trap of the rebuy. They could see potential in it since they've won one already. PTC is going to reinvest into that scout. Whole team's going to buy up again. Why not? Let's go. Let's see what we can do here. See if we can keep the money low for both teams. The investment from Boot is the exact same as the last round. A couple of MP5s and AKs. Impressions is going to keep that from us into the next round, which will do well. 2K in the bank, not spent. Full brown holes control this time for Boot. Double nade down SL, not going to fall for that 1v1 with Benkai getting traded out instantly. Splashy going to go for the Vines pick again.
Oh, he probably should have found it as well, but
Yeah, no luck with that MP5 so far.
BZ does come up with the frag. So, are we going to be going on the Asian CS Wild Ride? I'm in the queue, and I'm just waiting to find out whether I'm tall enough to get on this ride.
Have you bought a ticket?
I've got the ticket. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm prepared. Let's see what Benkai's got for us here. He might be able to shut things down. Does take a big tag, and that's going to open it up for Conged.
Oh, dearie me. You hate to see it.
It's looking very dangerous for Boot Dreamscape, especially considering Tommy gets low. Impression, one shot from the Deagle of Ginny will shut him down. And it is now really on to Bulbasaur. Tommy doesn't have too much HP to play with, and Bulbasaur seems to have no idea there's someone coming around the back. Tommy will turn, but no one else does, and Bulbasaur goes down. It's another one the way of MiTH, and Boot Dreamscape let it slip again.
Shake my head. Shake my head, Jordan. We're in for a wild ride.
Yes, we are.
Really, ideally, how many? I think maybe 5 rounds for T-side, 6 rounds. I mean, that's okay. They can keep doing this. It's MiTH are the ones that will pay ultimately for not getting enough gun rounds. But
And I guess at the end of the day, the 1-for-1s do favour Boot,
yeah,
being that they're on the T side, but I guess that assumes that they continue to get the 1-for-1s.
Yep, indeed. And, well, they've not reinvested heavily into this round. So just a couple of AKs, a couple of CZs or a Deagle. So it's all up to Cigarettes here with a fast rotate from Ginny as well. Decent molly. Maybe cooked it a little bit early, but was afraid of the fast rundown from Boot. That'll give Ginny time to rotate in. So 2 players inside now. Boot are in a position where they can leave that as a fake. They're going to go for the double drop down SL, throw the bomb.
Done it before.
Yep. Bit of presence in SL. Impressions with a cheeky spam onto Conged as that grenade really gets the better of them.
Yeah, Bulbasaur and Impression just get absolutely smashed in the face. Unfortunate thing for Boot Dreamscape is that they don't have anything to really get them into either of these sites. It's going to be dry peaks and relying on the aim. You can't even smoke off even a single angle, not a single flashbang available for Boot either.
Yep. Well,
Very tough for them to get in the site now.
Well, 40 seconds left. A little bit of a split and pick. Maybe a distraction from Splashky could pay off. Can't allow Conged to get that molly off. That will be a round killer.
It'd be very difficult for Boot to deny it, although it appears that they have. Tommy opens up, Conged goes down. There is at least a trade, and now that is a Molotov in the hands of Boot Dreamscape, so a little bit of utility to utilize. Does cover off the one angle in towards Heaven through
Bomb
the ladder.
down, 14 seconds, 11.
They don't really have much time to work with, so that's an important kill. Bulbasaur needs the next one here as well, and he won't get it. Bomb cannot be planted now by Impression that he's faked that one, and Cigarettes just has to survive, and he knows it. Impression will punish him for winning the round, but in the end, MiTH will be happy with the round win.
Yep.
An expensive and costly one, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, good news is that we still have an AK on the T side. Impression does only have $1,000 after surviving the previous round. Won't get any money for the round loss. And in the meantime, we've just got, well, the rest of Boot have decided to buy up late in the piece. And they've gone full investment on this round as well. So another force buy coming out. So it's really going tit for tat at the moment. With MiTH maybe stretching the lead out a little bit more off this buy.
Yeah, well, they have won 2 rounds in a row. So at least being able to string a couple together.
Well, yeah, well, just one more round here will really force Boot into a full eco. Because they won't be able to afford to keep on force buying like this. But if they can get it close, well, then it's obviously in their best interest to continue doing that.
Yeah, definitely still a chance for Boot Dreamscape to reset MiTH. And
holding that SL is pivotal to the outside execute. If that's what Boot are trying to do with this utility later on, it's Congad's doing a great job of holding that SL. Pop Dog. What do you reckon? Pop Dog?
I say Pop Dog.
Okay.
It's just a cooler name, right?
We call it SL for small ladder, but yeah, there's not really another ladder anymore, is there? Pop Dog works. Let's do that.
Double drop for Boot. This time, again, won't work out. Congad will just spray down 2. And that should be MiTH now being able to at least balance things a little bit.
That's my least favorite strategy.
You don't like the double drop?
Least favorite.
Totem pole.
I wish people did that when I used to watch as a hold SL. There was none of that shenanigans back then.
Boot, they look like they want to save these last 2 guns.
Well, Impression saved last round, so he doesn't have enough money to buy anything next either. His money was all spent on utility. Benkai still just has that CZ, so wouldn't really envy being in his position. 8 seconds left, obviously. Not even going to go for a last-ditch effort here. MiTH just happy to hold on to their weapons. Remember, PTC still is on that scout. Hasn't had to upgrade it yet.
Hasn't been able to.
Well, exactly.
Won't be able to this round either.
Yeah, could have an M4 for his troubles, but...
All right, Boot. Are you going to force again?
You can tell they're thinking about it.
They have an AK, and they have a CZ and armor already.
Yep.
It'll just be a slight utility investment.
Yep.
So maybe some sort of execute out onto the A site here for Boot. Looks like that's what they're setting up. It's going to be a quick one. They're going to go streaming out into the A bomb site. Tommy very quickly up to E-box. A lot of positioning gathered for Boot Dreamscape, but it's going to be onto Impression to find those opening frags with the AK, and he just has not been able to do that. Everyone on Boot is going to be dropping around him. Finally, Impression is able to get a frag, but it's too little too late.
Beautiful round there from Congad. Nice counter flash as well from, I believe it was Ginny, sitting at the bomb train. As soon as that execute, she recognized it was coming out. That flash really stopped the entire momentum from Boot DS. Otherwise, they definitely could have collapsed onto that bomb train as a complete unit. And, well, Congad just goes absolutely ham while they're all flashed in the open.
Bulbasaur has got an AK. So, not sure what's going on there. Perhaps getting the money back in line, but Tommy and Splashky still have quite a bit as well. So, it's a bit of a weird one for Boot. Regardless, they're going to try and make it work. Armor across the board, CZ's out. Hero AK buy, I guess, is the strat for Boot Dreamscape, but that hasn't worked for the last 5 rounds, and they've continually invested into that. Interesting economic decision making here for Boot, but you really do still feel it's only going to take them 1 round, and then potentially it'll all be worth it.
Yeah, it'll all swing if they can win this one. Otherwise, next round they'll be able to buy again MiTH, unless, oh, they're going to save as well. So that's a bit of an interesting decision, but
5v3.
Well, if they lose next round, they might still be able to buy because of this save. So that's if you're looking even further ahead, and that's where they get the value from saving here, the 3 weapons. But
where's the other M4? Boot have only picked up 1 extra rifle. There we go. Tommy's got it.
Yeah, so it
nice
makes
upgrade.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense just to hold on to those weapons as well if you're Boot DS. No need to hunt too hard. Just let Impressions do it with just the CZ. And, well, it'd be funny if all he found was a scout, but dead. Here we go. This could happen. I don't see why you'd come this far and then go for that boost, but, ooh, beautiful work there.
Oh, Impression didn't pick up the gun.
No, won't get the gun, unfortunately, but still, that's going to hamper MiTH 1 gun round extra, because I feel like that's what was possible if all 3 of them were able to save. And, well. Inside's looking a little bit weak. Boot DS might be looking to punish that a little bit more in future. Maybe not so much for the start of this gun round.
Oh, some utility being thrown into the A bomb site. Looks like that's really more of a fake than anything at the moment, as there's no investment for Boot Dreamscape. They're going to come charging up into the wide halls.
Tommy's feeling it lately.
Yeah, and he was definitely a standout for Boot Dreamscape yesterday when we watched their game, and seems to be once again getting the opening. This time, double molly into connector, cigarettes. Well, he's probably just going to be trying to light a cigarette and back out away from that Z connector, because not much that he's going to be able to do here. Needs to take a bit of a lazy one.
Bit of a lazy one, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they love saving their guns, MiTH. But I think this one should pay off. They'll still be able to buy if he can drop one to Conged. Nice work there to take down Ben Kai. Any damage he does to the boot economy is also going to pay dividends. PTC, Viper Demon, we can see they can still buy. So that'll be a drop for Ginny, and potentially just, or even for Conged, and then a UMP or something of the like for Ginny.
DC could even go for the AWP here.
Yeah.
Which will be the first time we actually see him with the AWP in this map. He will invest into that.
Boom.
So MiTH is all in.
Oh, there you go. So UMP for Conged. Ginny on the CZ.
And then 4 for cigarettes to grab. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, we can make this work. I wonder where they'll put Ginny, though. That CZ, maybe be able to pick up a weapon later on in the round. No need to have her on the front lines.
More utility out into the A-bomb site. This time, Boot will commit off of it.
Fast as well.
PTC able to get across the bomb train, does keep himself alive. That could be critical in the grand scheme of things, as he does hit 2 good shots. But Splashkey will trade him out. An impression to follow up onto Ginny. Cigarettes once again. It's a sense of deja vu for him. At least this time, it's not mollied off. Impression might get caught off guard here, and he will. There is still Splashkey, and Splashkey easily gets the trade.
Wow, the timing there. Unfortunate there for Cigarettes. Turns at the last second, just as the peak comes out from Splashkey. Now, that was such a fast attack there for Boot DS that, I mean, like on the previous round where they were held up by a counter flash, this time not so lucky. And also in a 4v5 situation, MiTH just couldn't do anything. As we said, the weapon saves, well, that surplus has run out, and they're going to have to eco here.
Tommy is aware of it as well, as he tries to play quite aggressively with the MAC-10. Not going to work out too nicely for him. He's been flattened. And it's a 4v4. Impression will find the trade, looking to make a bit more of an impression on this round as well, but can't quite get the shots, and he's spinning around like a madman. I don't know if he's been watching a little bit too much of that one movie that I can't remember the name of.
I'm waiting for it.
I was thinking of it, and I was in a trouble situation. I was just trying to slow it down, trying to remember.
Sonic the Hedgehog or something?
No.
He spins.
Oh, it's that one with God. How have I forgotten this?
You're actually so terrible.
Laura knows what I'm talking about.
You're so terrible at movie references.
You know the one with the spinning top at the end?
Inception.
Yes, I knew it started with I.
Oh, Christ. Oh, jeez. Even that is a horrible reference.
Well, you're just a hater.
Yes. To even consider that. Anyway.
Tommy's been spotted on the cross.
Yep. Just setting up for their fast out execute once again. I feel like Viper Demon maybe will be the linchpin for this round, but Tommy, nice, goes down to Viper Demon. Not as smooth as the previous outtakes. You can see they were held up a little bit by MiTH's counter utility, and at the end of the day, no entry frags means no bueno. Splashkey's going to try his best, but Patricius or PTC still has the AWP. And, well, he can do a lot of damage with that. Conged having an absolutely fantastic game so far.
Yeah, definitely the standout for MiTH. Big reason why they've got 6 rounds on the CT side so far. Boot Dreamscape are going to be able to buy through once again. Splashkey will put himself back on the AWP. We didn't see too much of Splashkey on the AWP yesterday. It was Tommy that was picking it up on Nuke, but earlier on Case, Splashkey was having a pretty good time.
Felt like they were memeing a little bit on Nuke, didn't it, really? Splashkey was holding the squeaky door push. He picked it up a little bit, but yeah, you're right. It was mostly Tommy. Well, back to his roots. Maybe they're just making, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I was thinking maybe they're just because Bulbasaur is their stand-in, really. If you think about it. I mean, I know they play with him so often that he might as well be core, but yeah. Just having a bit of fun yesterday, perhaps.
Perhaps. Seems to be taking everything serious today, though, against MiTH.
Yep.
I like this from Boot, just slowing things down a little bit. They have been rushing into the A bomb side, and it's been a bit touch and go.
Yeah, well, just imagine their T side. They don't get a good start. Oh, sorry, their CT side. They don't get a good start. They don't win the pistol round. Then they've got an eco. So, you know, 6 rounds, 7 rounds might be pretty hard on the CT side if they don't get their money right, if they get their reset on their first gun round. So I guess it's time, as when you're on the T side, to prepare for the worst. Congead, though, has been having a really good night.
It's a good trade from Impression. You can see the setup for Boot Dreamscape going to work there, but Impression is going to be dropping to Viper Demon. And those players on the A side haven't really done enough to draw much over from B. Bulbasaur just strafes out a little bit too far, and now Splashkey in a 2 versus 1 with only 20 seconds to work with.
Good discipline from Ginny there as well, not to re-peek.
Splashkey has no idea that Ginny's managed to progress that far forward, and MiTH will find another round. This will probably be an eco for Boot. Splashkey can maybe buy a bit of pistols and utility.
I feel like Splashkey could drop pistols for the entire team or just save his money and AWP up next round.
Maybe you want to try and get a bomb down in this one, though, if you're
Yeah,
Boot. So
I would like to see some sort of investment from Boot.
see like a smoke or 2.
Just some deagles. That works. A couple of deagles here and there, see what they can make do with it. Just need one entry on the inside site and you've got it pretty much. I'm sure they'd be feeling that right now. Trying to bait out any early utility that they can as well. That's always going to help. I mean, Benkai, I remember watching this guy with the deagle back in the day.
Yeah. Did some nasty things to a few Australian teams.
Ugh. But again, this outside control's been very strong for MiTH. The CT side on inside is, they've got 2 players, which is always very strong. So the beauty of having Congead just going absolutely massive outside, assisted by Viper Demon as well, and obviously PTC on the AWP, it's a good combination. And you can see why they've got 7 rounds so far, especially even with that tumultuous start that they had. Losing the pistol, winning the eco, getting ecoed.
Yeah, it's been a bit backwards and forwards this half.
It's been the Asian meta with those pistols.
This looks like it's going to be a nice setup for Ginny, but Benkai, you mentioned with the deagle, has been able to get that trade early on in the piece. Rotation has come across, though, from MiTH, and there's really not much of a chance for Boot Dreamscape in this one.
No. Bomb down, though, that's always great, considering they only spent, well, very minimal investment into this round. And they'll be able to buy next round. That's the round. That's the half win, I guess you could say, for MiTH. So still a bit of work ahead for Boot if they are going to take this one 2-0. 2-zip.
Yeah, this is a pretty important round as well. 8-7 is certainly not quite as foreboding as 9-6 can be. Even if the pistol goes the way of the CT, or of, I guess in this case, MiTH, when they move over, Boot will still have quite a few rounds to play with, but sort of once it hits that 12 mark, gets a little bit more worrisome.
Yep.
Flashbangs out into A again. Boot don't look like they want to commit off at this time.
No, still gonna, didn't really drown out much utility either from MiTH, so. Oh, Bulbasaur is going to get an entry onto Congead, but Cigarettes almost gets the full lineup holding inside. Now this is where you really got to commit fast. The rotate, well, it takes about 5 seconds from MiTH. But 3 versus 3 situation. Anything can happen from here on in. It's anyone's game.
It can, but Impression is in such a powerful position here. If he doesn't go down, although peeking above the smoke, playing a bit of a risky game given how close Viper Demon is. Does back off, and that's smart. The flashbang out from him. Just buy a little bit more time. Now some utility out as well. And this is looking good for Boot Dreamscape. Splashkey will get Ginny. PTC has been spotted by Impression. 8-7 at the end of the half. I think you'd probably be happy with that if you're Boot. Maybe a little disappointed as MiTH.
No, I'd be happy with that as MiTH. I mean, look, it depends on what sort of T-side we're going to see from MiTH. You know, do they know what they're doing? Do they have some good executes? Are they able to obtain map control? How aggressive is Boot going to be? And are they going to give away a couple of rounds being over-aggressive towards Ivy? We've seen them do it before. Don't see much action in the brown halls. Maybe Splashkey can peek it occasionally. But all in all, I think that was a relatively solid defense from MiTH, putting up 8 rounds against a superior opponent.
I don't think it would was likely that they were going to get much more.
No.
Just given the way that the start of that half went,
Yeah.
their economy didn't really get rolling enough for them to be able to put 9 or 10 on the board. So, yeah, quite a backwards and forwards first half. Not sure who it necessarily favours at the moment. I'm still leaning towards Boot for the 2-0 here.
Oh, of course you would.
Pistol will tell us a lot, but even then, it's not going to be the be-all, end-all.
No, and I mean, look, there's every opportunity that Boot loses the pistol. I mean, they're fairly 50-50 at the best of times anyway, but it'll be up to MiTH to eco them back or prevent being ecoed themselves. That's where we'll really be able to see where the rest of this game goes. For now, though, like I said, these things are 50-50. Boot have taken Vine's control. That's going to give them a lot of information. 2 players already inside. Won't be long until you see a third. Outside looking completely empty at this point. Going to go for the contact play, perhaps. Brownhalls, MiTH still have a bit of utility on Ginny, but they have no awareness of what else is going on around the map.
Ro4 with an important job to do, especially considering Tommy has gone down. He needs to try and survive now. Smoke might have been a help. Oh, what a ragdoll that is. Impression has just absolutely clotheslined Viper Demon. But he's actually been able to follow that up with a kill onto PTC. Splashkey chiming in with one onto Ginny as well. And now Cigarettes needs to hit some nice shots with that USP. The headshots is what he's looking for, but it's what Benkai will find. The pistol goes the way of Boot Dreamscape.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Beautiful retake as well. I mean, you could see Splashkey covering Impressions perfectly, despite being flashed. So, great to see that sort of early teamwork and chemistry from Boot, considering we expect them to go far in this bracket.
Definitely. So, no investment from MiTH.
Yep.
They did get the bomb down. So, looking for the third round buy with AKs.
Right, so that's the difference here. They get the bomb down. They don't want to force buy, because the next round they'll be able to buy AKs, smokes, flashes, and the full head armor.
That's what you need. Sometimes that's all you need. Back again with the MP5s here for Boot DS, or at least Bulbasaur does have his.
Wow. Ginny going to open up the account down at Ivy with the aggressive Bulbasaur. Like I said before, Jordan, as soon as you get too aggressive as Boot, then that's when you can start really throwing a couple of rounds away.
Now this is looking a bit perplexing now for Boot. Tommy not quite going to be spotting Viper Demon out there, and Splashkey will go down as well. So MiTH have just won a round with only pistols. Boot DS is left scratching their head a little bit as to how that one has happened. That's the second time Boot has won the pistol and then subsequently lost the following round.
Well, they're not going to shy away from this round. Boot buying up with what they can.
Okay. Bit of messing around in the T-spawn for MiTH.
Yeah.
Perhaps something's gone wrong.
Maybe for both teams.
Fongerd might have been the one that DC'd there. I think he was just standing still. So
okay.
Looks like we're going to have a round reset, guys. Nothing too peculiar happened there. No one spotted each other. No one did any damage, at least from what I could see. So
that's true.
Seems pretty fair.
Good sportsmanship. Everyone just staying in their spawn, not giving anything away. Because, I mean, there's a lot of information to get that if Boot are going to force buy into this round. So
that's a good one.
That's something that I guess MiTH will have to... Oh, that's something Boot will have to keep quiet, and MiTH might be able to find out.
Well, MiTH have got a little bit of time to chat about what they expect to see here and what they're going to do based on what scenario they see. If we get a force buy, we're going to do this. If we see just the pistols out, maybe we do something a bit
Maybe
different.
they'll buy different weapons, you know, since the whole round will probably get match medicked, and then you know, if they still have the scout on PTC or whatever else, maybe get something else because of the force buy. Who knows?
I don't think PTC with the scout is too bad of an idea anyway, regardless of if it's a force or if it's a save.
Well, look, if it's an eco, body shots with the scout. If it's a force buy, you go for the head.
Yep.
So
the Scoutmaster himself
changes something. I mean, he could always get an MP5, same price, or if not cheaper. Now I think it's 1500. MC was saying they made it cheaper. Things you don't know when you don't play, I guess. But yeah.
Been a pretty interesting map, though.
Yeah,
I sort of thought that this was going to be Boot Dreamscape running away with the map and kind of closing out the 2-0.
Yeah, I didn't expect MiTH to be able to just come back straight away and eco them twice. So.
Well, yeah, that's really weird, isn't it? You'd expect Boot to be a little bit better on their anti-ecos. But I suppose it's kind of the age-old question of, are they necessarily firing up against an opponent that they sort of expect to beat?
Yeah,
maybe,
look,
maybe not.
I feel like you're always going to try your best, right? But maybe they're just saving some strategies here or there, you know, keeping a couple of things secret.
Well, they have a pretty tough run. They do have a tough run to go through this lower bracket. If they win this one, which we expect that they should, they're going to have to go up against SC Absolute,
again,
who they've already lost to.
Yep.
And then, well, they're probably going up against MVP because MVP would have, by now, I assume, forfeited their match against Flash. And if they then beat MVP, then they have to beat Flash, who then will have a one-map advantage in a best-of-5 if they want to go to Chicago. So it's a long run for Boot Dreamscape.
Yeah, and I think if you're Flash Gaming, you're watching these games as well. You know, you'd be watching the boot games. You may be watching the SC Absolute boot game as well. If it comes to that, obviously, it could still be MiTH. But yeah, I mean, they'll be thanking their lucky stars that MVP has had to forfeit. So
because that was always going to be a tough game. That was actually I was looking forward to that one because that should have been a very good game.
So with MVP forfeiting the upper bracket, does that just put them in the lower bracket? They're still in the comp, right?
That would be my
theory.
So
you can't rest on your laurels, right?
No.
So I think for whoever comes up against MVP, whether it be MiTH, Boot, or SC Absolute, that's really going to be the test. That's when we say, okay, this team is here now for both of those teams. So you say, like, MVP, maybe they're not here. Maybe they've fallen away. But if someone beats MVP and it is someone like SC Absolute, then they'll finally have a bit of respect from me. Anyway.
Yeah, beating MVP is not an easy task, but maybe sometimes MVP does bring it upon themselves. They do play a little bit lax sometimes toward the end of maps where they really should be trying to kick it into the second gear and figure things out. But yeah, I still think MVP would be the team that I would even back to go
even over Flash.
Well, now with that one map advantage, it's sort of up in the air. But I think if it was just a best-of-5,
so we get to the veto,
I would back MVP.
And Flash, well, we know they like overpass, etc.
Today, MVP picked Nuke.
Yeah.
Against CyberZen.
Yeah, well, Nuke is one of their best maps, right? So Nuke Inferno, overpass. We know attacker likes that, so that's going to stay in. So if we're talking about a best-of-5, that's
Dust 2 probably goes.
2 maps we get rid of. Definitely going to get rid of Dust 2, 100%. What else is there?
Well,
Train?
You look at it and you're like, oh, Nuke's normally the one that gets thrown out first, but both of those two teams, I think, play Nuke.
Yeah.
So unless it's a veto from
So what I'm trying to get
Flash
to get at is 2 maps are gone out of the pool. It's a best-of-5.
Right.
You already forfeit the first map because they've got the advantage coming in. So it's really only 4 maps.
Yep.
And so what map is going to be that one that they forfeit? That could change everything. If they don't get to play Nuke, well, that's bad for MVP, right? If they don't get to play Overpass, which wouldn't make any sense, that would be bad for Flash Gaming.
All right, well, it's time to get back into the game as things have been sorted out. So we are at 9 apiece, and Boot have decided to force buy into the round.
PTC goes for the AK instead.
Yeah, fair enough. Boo Bulbasaur is going to be able to get one trade potential for Splashkey, but he himself is just going to get absolutely smashed running around that corner. And now Tommy's in a tough spot here. Whoa, PTC gets the kill. And Impression won't be able to do any more economic damage. MiTH run over the round pretty easily.
Yep. So the force bar is not really paying out for Boot anymore. And, well, this is an 11th round for MiTH. That's going to put them on 3,500 maybe across the board for Boot. So maybe even 12 rounds for MiTH. There you go.
Yeah. That's a bit of a mountain to climb for Boot.
Yeah.
Not a huge one.
And
it's not Mount Everest just yet.
I know, but we talked about is 8 rounds enough? And I said, well, you know, sometimes it can be, depending on how things go. MiTH reset them out. What if Boot win the first gun round that they finally get?
Then lose.
Then lose, they get reset. You know, it's really hard to get 8 rounds in that situation.
Definitely.
That's what that's why the pistol rounds, the anti-eco is all so important. Benkai with the Zeus.
Yep, channeling the power of the gods.
Yes. Aptly named.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like he's going to get an opportunity to use it here. As everyone from MiTH is just going to be backing off again toward T-Spawn. All right, standard fare. What's the plan here for Boot, though? Are they saving next round?
I think a small investment.
Pistols, armor.
Yeah. Maybe a 3-man push inside. No, they're going to buy here, 4,300.
Yeah. Can't really get the AWP on Splashkey, though.
No, not important. You want to get in their face early on. Try and reset that flow. See what happens from there. Start your esports career.
Pretty important round then for Boot here, given that this has been an investment. Again, it'll put them back to Eco.
Back to 0. So it's an important round for Boot, obviously. I mean, every round's always important, yada, yada, yada. But added emphasis on this one.
Yep, could mean a couple of rounds for MiTH if they win it, and that really puts them within striking distance of 16. Get up to 13, you're feeling pretty comfortable when your opponent's only on 8.
Well, speaking of comfortable, Ben Kai is going to be feeling uncomfortable if he doesn't turn around quickly here. Bulbasaur with a lot of pressure on him. Oh, that silence M4, he puts it to work.
Yeah, gets only 1 kill with it, however, and Cigarettes is stepping up, gets another 2 for himself, and now Impression turns it into a 1v1. Yep. Ginny has been spotted out. Bulbasaur, or rather I should say Impression, bouncing around, getting the info. But he doesn't really know where Ginny is now, and he's going to get caught off guard.
Ginny doing work. Well, I mean, that was all Cigarettes, really. In my opinion, he's just on form. Just coming out, hitting everything, almost teammates. And when you're in that sort of aimbot mode, that can happen. You're just hitting anything that moves. And sometimes that's the best way to be.
Yeah.
It's all about the lightning fast reflexes, and you could see just the impact it has.
Small investment from Boot, but not much to write home about as far as the buy is concerned. Ben Kai will need to step up with the scout. Tommy in no man's land, absolutely wiped away from the map.
Yep. Not sure about the scout investment from Ben Kai, considering you've got 2 players who will be playing close, or trying to play close SL. Pop Dog towards E-Box. Ben Kai unable to stop the plant under the train. Does get a tag on to PTC over Ivy.
Oh, Splashkey will be disappointed.
Yep.
Because he could have got a kill there, and Ben Kai is actually hitting shots with this scout. That's the second headshot that he's managed. Not going to be enough by the looks of things. And Cigarettes will take him down.
So he was trying to cause some sort of damage to the economy for MiTH, but if you have a look, they're on easy street. They're almost at 9k apiece, even with Ginny on 11. So, yeah, Boot are definitely in trouble here. They need to put the brakes on very quickly. Tommy's fallen in a very deep grave here. 6 kills, 19 deaths. Not the same guy we saw yesterday, Jordan.
No, definitely not. There was that one really nice entry from him on the T side, which we got a bit excited about, but has not eventuated for Tommy, at least yet on train. Still time, though. Splashkey does have the AWP in this round, so it's a better looking buy, in my opinion, for Boot. A lot of damage done over onto PTC. Utilities going to work for Boot Dreamscape right now. Bulbasaur wins the aim duel against PTC as well. Does go down quite low, however.
Where is Bulbasaur? Is he going to rotate inside, or is he just sitting there? He's up in heaven now. Okay, well, that's a good spot to be.
It's a good spot when you're on 2 HP or 8 HP.
Yeah, Tommy will be the quick rotate inside, assisting out Impression. 2 people here is going to make the inside bomb site usually very strong.
Oh, Impression's in a tough spot, but he answers the call well. And Tommy wrapping around will shut down the remaining 2 Ts. That's a much better looking round from Boot Dreamscape.
Wow. That was the breaks we were talking about. That's exactly what they needed to do.
Yep, build that money up.
2 players rotate inside relatively quickly there. MiTH sort of giving away what they're doing. And like I said, the choke point of inside, I mean, Impression getting 2 there was pretty good. Not getting traded out instantly. 1 player sneaking through a smoke, but still, MiTH aren't out of it yet. Still in the lead. Still got a lot of money in the bank to be able to reinvest constantly into these rounds. But Boot need to really survive these rounds with as many members as possible if they win them. Can't afford them to come down to 1v1s now because it's getting way too close.
Splashkey is going to get a pretty easy shot there with the AWP as Viper Demon just sticks his leg out. Double smoke out from Boot, so some of that precious utility being wasted.
Yeah, very early on in the piece.
Well, I suppose you'll take it if it counts as a 1 for 0, although Ben Kai does get smashed through the smoke. So back to a 1 for 1. Splashkey is still hanging around here, however, with the AWP, and this is a pretty nice line to fight with the AWP, as you really only have to focus on the one direction.
Yeah, still no control over T-Com, but as you will see, Impressions does have full control over inside, so relatively safe to have 3 players out here right now. with the possibility of Tommy rotating inside again should that need arise. Ginny looks like she wants to go down SL, down to Pop Dog and collapse onto the outside bomb site, which would make sense. MiTH kind of do have that free reign at the moment. But those long-range angles, well, that's going to favour Splashki. And as I say, that gets taken down by Congaed, who's just hitting everything tonight.
Tommy takes a long time to get rid of Congaed. And gives PTC the opening. This is very bad news indeed for Boot, because they are going to be reset.
Yep.
Impression with a 1v3 ahead of him, but Ginny shuts him down. Reset across onto Boot. And 14's up for MiTH. So what are you doing here if you're the CT side? Are you forcing into this round trying to avoid overtime? I guess you have to really play for overtime here.
I would buy here, because if you lose, it's match point, and then you just force buy the next round. Otherwise, you lose this round with a full buy. Next round, you're still on death row.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the double scout investment from Boot. Splashki pretty much fully invested. Everyone else has kept themselves on a fairly low buy.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I guess the argument is that the rest of Boot can rebuy next round. Splashki will be on a pistol, but
yep.
At least they have something still to play with in this round.
Yeah, sure.
If the scouts go to work, it could eventuate.
It could indeed. Impression though, Brown Halls with a 5-7, or is it Deagle, sorry. Sitting back, waiting again. No pressure at Ivy this time. Should be a telltale sign for Boot. Obviously, they're not going to be as game as last round. Ben Kai getting punished. Getting that information at Ivy. Looks like it will be a full collapse inside. Rotate times should be quick for Boot, but, you know, Tommy rotating inside with the USP won't mean much. You would want to see a full, straight away, a full call for the whole team inside as soon as possible if they're going to have a chance here, Jordan.
Well, I don't think they're going to have a chance now that Impression's going down and not been able to buy themselves any time at all. And Boot are now going to be filtering in, rotating into the AWP of PTC. Unfortunately, it's Splashki, the player with the armor that's gone down. Benkai is actually hitting shots with this scout right now. Not sure where he's pulled this from, but it's still not going to be enough, really. And it's going to be the scouts maybe saved through for Boot Dreamscape, which doesn't really fill you with confidence for the next round, does it?
No. No, it's been a pretty lackluster performance so far for Boot. No defuse kit for them.
Even though those scouts are hitting shots, they cannot win the round now. That's unfortunate. I wonder if that was even doable. Like, for Boot Dreamscape, if they would have had guns in that round, even if it was the half investment that they could have got,
well,
would have been possible.
Not the cleanest of saves, Jordan.
No, definitely not. Well, look at the money now. Splashy can't buy, but everyone else can. Desperate times call for desperate measures here for Boot, so M4's out. Impression might get himself a FAMAS or a UMP here. No, he's going to get the M4 and sacrifice quite a bit of utility. So, big lack of utility for Boot. But they do have 4 rifles.
At this point, I guess Boot will be looking into this round thinking maybe just give it everything we've got. But next map is looking pretty imminent at this point. Ginny's going to get even Splashki from behind. And, well, MiTH kind of doing a little bit of a random shuffle out here, and it's caught Boot completely by surprise. Impression's left the inside bomb site empty. And, well, there you have it. I don't see what can come back from this one, Jordan.
Certainly not, unless we get some Bulbasaur magic for Boot.
Oh, no defuse kit.
They're going to have to be quick about it in that case. A couple of flashbangs here for Boot. Maybe Benkai can do something special with his flash, although it seems to be a bit of a write-off here for Boot Dreamscape. They really don't have the time to be messing around. They need to be pushing forward right now. The smoke is going to help Bulbasaur, but not long enough as MiTH are going to close out the second map, and that's going to put us through to map 3. Well, at least we get to see a few matches of Counter-Strike tonight, Ian. But Boot Dreamscape, they'll be disappointed with that because this is a match that they really should have 2-0'd.
Yeah, I mean, look, their train usually looks very strong. You got Splashki, Tommy holding, on the retake for inside as well. So, look, the pieces of the puzzle are there for Boot, but just in this match, it just didn't work out. Just didn't work out at all. Their T side looked fine. We were talking about 7 rounds is enough. But
Should be.
like I said, lose pistol, or sorry, win pistol, get eco'd.
Yeah, that was the major hanging point, I think, for
Tilt-
Dreamscape.
tilt
You
from
win
there on.
you win 2 pistols, and then you get eco'd twice as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe Boot Dreamscape, they're going to be able to take 5 here and figure themselves out as we look toward map 3. We're going to head to a quick break, and then we will catch you on map 3.